Hi friends, welcome to lesson 28, Concept of Human Development, Indicators and Approaches. Human development is a process of enlarging people's choices as they acquire more capabilities and enjoy more opportunities to use those capabilities. But human development is also the objective, so it is both a process as well as an outcome. The idea that the quality of life people enjoy in a country, the opportunities they have and freedoms they enjoy are important aspects of development. This idea is not new. These ideas were clearly spelled out for the first time in the late 80s and early 90s. The works of two South Asian economists, 𝗵𝗵𝗀𝗧𝗏 and Amartya Sen, are very important in this regard. The significant objectives of this lesson are: after completion of this lesson, you will be able to understand the concept of human development. You will be able to identify the indicators of human development and also analyze the different approaches of human development. Human development. Human development implies that people must influence the process that shapes their lives. In all this, economic growth is an important means of human development, but not the goal. The human development framework takes a people-centered approach. It emphasizes that the true aim of development is not only to boost incomes but also to maximize human choices by enhancing human rights, freedoms, capabilities and opportunities, and by enabling people to lead long, healthy and creative lives. Human development or human development approach is about expanding the richness of human life rather than simply the richness of economy in which human beings live. It is an approach that is focused on people and their opportunities and choices. People is a very important component of human development. Human development focuses on improving the lives of people rather than assuming that economic growth will lead automatically to greater well-being for all. Income growth is seen as a means to development rather than an end in itself. With regard to opportunities, human development is about giving people more freedom to live lives they value. In effect, this means developing people's abilities and giving them a chance to use them. For example, educating a girl would build her skills, but it is of little use if she is denied access to job or does not have the right skills for the labor market. Three foundations for human development are to live a long, healthy and creative life, to be knowledgeable and to have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living. Many other things are important too, especially in helping to create the right conditions for human development, and some of these are discussed. Once the basics of human development are achieved, they open up opportunities for progress in other aspects of life. Choice is an important component of human development. Human development is fundamentally about more choice. It is about providing people with opportunities, not insisting that they make use of them. No one can guarantee human happiness, and the choices people make are their own concern. The process of development or human development should at least create an environment for people individually and collectively to develop to their full potential and to have a reasonable chance of leading productive and creative lives that they value. As the international community moves towards implementing and monitoring the 2030 agenda, the human development approach remains useful to articulating the objectives of development and improving people's well-being by ensuring an equitable, sustainable and stable planet. Human development was formally defined in the first Human Development Report as a process of enlarging people's choices. The most critical of these wide-ranging choices are to live a long and healthy life, to be educated and to have access to resources needed for a decent standard of living. The additional choices include political freedom, guaranteed human rights and personal self-respect. The concept of human development was introduced by Dr. 𝗪𝗪𝗪𝗪. Dr. Huq has described human development as development that enlarges people's choices and improves their lives. People are central to all development under this concept. These choices are not fixed but keep on changing. The basic goal of development is to create conditions where people can live meaningful lives. A meaningful life is not just a long one, it must be a life with some purpose. This means that people must be healthy, they should be able to develop their talents, participate in society and be free to achieve their goals in life. The idea of human development is supported by concepts of equity, sustainability, productivity and empowerment. In the late 1980s, United Nations Development Programme UNDP devised Human Development Index. This measure incorporates 3 dimensions of development in relation to human well-being: a long and healthy life, education and knowledge, and a decent standard of living. The UNDP selected 4 quantitative indicators to measure these dimensions. What are they? Life expectancy at birth, adult literacy rate, gross enrollment ratio, that is percentage in primary, secondary and tertiary education, and GDP per capita. The indicators then have to be converted to an index from 0 to 1 to allow for equal weighting between each of these dimensions. Once an index value has been calculated for each dimension, they are averaged and the final figure is the HDI. The higher the value, the higher the level of human development. In later reports and in work outside United Nations, the concept has been refined and elaborated. For example, human development as a paradigm now emphasizes broadening choices and strengthening capabilities based on conceptual and analytical work by Nobel laureate Amartya Sen and Martha Nussbaum among many others. In explaining capabilities, Amartya Sen has stressed the contrast between great things those human beings can achieve and the limited lives most women and men end up having. Lack of schooling, meager health care, inadequate economic opportunities, violation of political liberties, denial of civil rights and other hostile winds can totally frustrate human beings despite their potential to ascend on the wings. An important contrast is thus between economic prosperity and human development, between economic achievements measured by GNP per capita and human achievements measured by a range of human indicators. Although there is a weak correlation between the two, the data shows that many developing countries do poorly on many social and human right indicators in spite of achieving reasonable rates of economic growth and vice versa. Countries can make significant progress in human development even with slow economic growth. The pursuit of economic growth is typically taken as the central goal of economic policy making. In contrast, the human development approach concentrates on people-focused objectives and emphasizes that economic and political actions should be treated as means to these human ends. The first time that an operational and intellectually coherent vision of people-focused development strategy emerged was in 1970s when ILO World Employment Program developed a strategy for meeting basic needs. Meeting basic needs or basic human needs became the dominant development priority, capturing the attention of donors and winning the support of World Bank President Robert McNamara, who was the 5th president of World Bank Group between 1968 and 1981, and others in positions of international leadership. In spite of this early and rapid rise to prominence, the basic needs strategy disappeared from the political scene within 5 years. In 1990, the UNDP launched the first annual Human Development Report, which promoted a comprehensive vision of a people-focused strategy. The reports of series brought the concept of human development to worldwide attention and gave it economic breadth and philosophical depth. In addition to presenting a new paradigm for economic and social development, successive reports illustrated the approach in relation to key areas like inequality, public finance, participation, gender, economic growth, globalization, technology, culture, human rights and other domains. Within a year or two, many individual countries began producing their own human development reports, applying the paradigm to their own national problems and policies. It is estimated that well over 600 such national human development reports have been produced in about 140 countries. In addition, a number of regional human development reports have been issued, most notably 4 outspoken reports for the Arab region and a series of annual regional reports for South Asia prepared by 𝗵𝗵𝗆 Human Development Center in Islamabad. Numerous books and articles about human development have also appeared, and the Journal of Human Development has been published regularly since 2000. Let us now understand some of the indicators of the human development. Some of the indicators are, firstly, life expectancy at birth, adult literacy rate, GDP per capita, people below poverty line, infant mortality rate, which is also called IMR, maternal mortality rate MMR, population using improved sanitation, population with sustainable access to improved water source, percentage of students malnourished. To draw attention to these ends, the Human Development Report now uses 4 key indicators. HDI, the Human Development Index. It is a summary of human development in a country that measures the average achievements of people along 3 dimensions. Living a long and healthy life is the first one, as measured by the expectancy at birth. Being knowledgeable as measured by combination of the adult literacy rate and the combined enrollment ratio in primary, secondary and tertiary education, and having access to decent standard of living as measured by an index of income per capita, which is GDP measured in purchasing power parity US dollars to achieve international comparability. Apart from HDI, GDI, that is the Gender Related Development Index. It is an indicator that adjusts the average HDI achievement to reflect inequalities between men and women along the three basic dimensions. GEM, the Gender Empowerment Measure. It is an indicator that focuses on opportunities open to women. It measures inequality of opportunity in three areas: political participation, economic participation and decision making. HPI, the Human Poverty Index. It is an index that measures deprivations along the basic dimensions of human development. It combines the proportion of people in a country expected to die at a relatively early age, for example 40 years in developing countries and 60 years in developed countries. Illiteracy and poor access to the overall economic resources needed for a decent standard of living. Human development indices were one of the innovations of the reports. They deliberately shifted attention from an exclusive preoccupation with economic indicators such as GNP per capita to human indicators. Friends, let us try to slightly elaborate on Human Development Index. Human Development Index is defined as a composite index combining indicators representing three dimensions, which is longevity, that is life expectancy at birth, knowledge, which includes adult literacy rate and mean years of schooling, and income, which is the real GDP per capita in purchasing power parity in US dollars. Thus, the concept of HDI reflects achievements in most basic human capabilities, that is leading a long life, being knowledgeable and enjoying a decent standard of living. Hence, these three variables have been chosen to represent those dimensions. The HDI was developed by Pakistani economist 𝗪𝗪 Indian Nobel laureate Amartya Sen's work on human capabilities also reflects human development. It is often framed in terms of whether people are able to be and do desirable things in their life, and was published by United Nations Development Programme. The statistic related to HDI is composed of calculation of life expectancy, education and standard of living collected at national level using a predetermined formula. The HDI looks beyond GDP for a better definition of well-being. The 2010 report introduces these three new indices to capture important aspects of the distribution of well-being for inequality, gender equity and poverty. A long and healthy life, life expectancy at birth, education index, which includes mean years of schooling and expected years of schooling. The third one is a decent standard of living, which includes gross national income per capita, purchasing power parity at US dollars. HDI is the geometric mean of the previous three normalized indices. Life expectancy at birth, mean years of schooling, that is years that a 25-year-old person or older has spent in the schools, expected years of schooling, that is years that a 5-year-old old child will spend with his education in his whole life, and GNI, that is gross national income at purchasing power parity per capita. The HDI values ranges between 0 to 1, as we have just discussed. The HDI value for a country shows the distance that it has towards maximum possible value to 1 and also allows comparisons with other countries. To construct the index, fixed minimum and maximum values have been established for each of these indicators, which we have already discussed. It includes life expectancy, adult literacy rate, combined gross enrollment ratio, real GDP per capita with reference to purchasing power parity at $100 as well as with regard to a country's average. Out of 189 countries, India has ranked 131 on the Human Development Index 2020 prepared by the UNDP. With an HDI value of 0.645, the country fell in the medium human development category. Between 1990 and 2019, India's HDI value increased from 0.429 to 0.645, which is an increase of 50.3%. Between 1990 and 2019, India's life expectancy at birth increased by 11.8 years. Between 1990 and 2019, mean years of schooling increased by 3.5 years and expected years of schooling increased by 4.5 years. India's GNI per capita increased by about 273.9% between 1990 and 2019. These indices are also significant aspect of human development. Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index, which adjusts the Human Development Index for inequality in distribution of each dimension across the population. The IHDI is the actual level of human development accounting for this inequality, while HDI can be viewed as an index of potential human development or the maximum level of HDI that could be achieved if there was no inequality. The loss in potential human development due to inequality is given by the difference between HDI and the IHDI and can be expressed as a percentage. While HDI can be viewed as an index of average achievements in human development dimensions, IHDI measures the level of human development when the distribution of achievements across people in society is accounted for. The IHDI will be equal to HDI when there is no inequality, but falls below the HDI as inequality increases. The difference between HDI and IHDI expressed as a percentage of HDI indicates the loss in human development due to inequality. Another measure, Gender Inequality Index GII, reflects women's disadvantage in 3 dimensions: reproductive health, empowerment and labor market. This index shows the loss in human development due to inequality between female and male achievements in these dimensions. It ranges from 0, which indicates that women and men fare equally, to 1, which indicates that women fare poorly in all measured dimensions. The GII is an inequality index. It shows the loss in potential human development due to disparity between female and male achievements in 2 dimensions, empowerment and economic status, and reflects a country's position relative to normative ideals for the key dimension of women's health. Overall, the GII reflects how women are disadvantaged in these dimensions. Apart from these indexes, Gender Development Index measures differences between male and female achievements in 3 basic dimensions of human development: health, measured by female and male life expectancy at birth; education, measured by female and male expected years of schooling for children and female and male mean years of schooling for adults; ages 25 and older; and equitable command over economic resources measured by female and male estimated earned income. To calculate the GDI, the HDI is calculated separately for females and for males using the same methodology as in the HDI. The GDI provides insights into gender disparities in achievements in 3 basic capabilities of health, education and command over economic resources. It helps further understanding of the real gender gap in human development achievements and is useful for navigating the policies to close the gap. Multidimensional Poverty Index (MPI) identifies multiple deprivations at the individual level in health, education and standard of living. It uses microdata from household surveys, and unlike the Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index, all the indicators needed to construct the measure must come from the same survey. Each person in a given household is classified as poor or non-poor depending on the number of deprivations his or her household experiences. These data are then aggregated into national measure of poverty. The MPI reflects both the prevalence of multidimensional deprivation and its intensity, that is, how many deprivations people experience at the same time. It can be used to create a comprehensive picture of people living in poverty and permits comparisons both across the countries, regions and the world and within the countries by ethnic group, urban or rural location, as well as other key household and community characteristics. The MPI offers a valuable complement to income-based poverty measure. Friends, we have discussed different kinds of indicators of human development. Now, let us talk about different approaches to human development. First, let me talk about income approach. This is one of the oldest approaches to human development. Human development is seen as being linked to income. The idea is that level of income reflects the level of freedom an individual enjoys. Higher the level of income, the higher is the level of human development. Apart from income approach, there is also welfare approach. This approach looks at human beings as beneficiaries or targets of all development activities. The approach argues for higher government expenditure on education, health, social, secondary and other amenities. People are not participants in development but only passive recipients. The government is responsible for increasing the levels of human development by maximizing the expenditure on welfare. Another approach is that of basic needs approach. This approach was initially proposed by International Labour Organization and 6 basic needs, that is health, education, food, water supply, sanitation and housing were identified. The question of human choice is ignored and the emphasis is on the provision of basic needs of defined sections. Basic needs approaches to well-being are concerned with outcomes. They arose out of recognition that economic approaches to development that focused on incomes and growth were problematic. A narrow economic understanding sees increasing incomes and faster growth as proxies for improved well-being. However, the basic needs proponents argue that this depends firstly on whether income is spent on satisfying basic needs where there are shortfalls, or on luxuries that may ultimately have a detrimental impact on well-being, and secondly on how income and positive welfare benefits of increased income are distributed between and within different social groups. Capability approach. This approach is associated with Professor Amartya Sen. Building human capabilities in the areas of health, education and access to resources is the key to increasing human development. The capability approach is defined by its choice of focus upon the moral significance of individuals' capability of achieving the kind of lives they have reason to value. This distinguishes it from more established approaches to ethical evaluation such as utilitarianism or resourcism, which focus exclusively on subjective well-being or availability of means to the good life respectively. A person's capability to live a good life is defined in terms of the set of valuable beings and doings like being in good health or having loving relationships with others to which they have real access. Friends, let us now sum up this lesson. We have understood that human development is a process of enlarging people's choices as they acquire more capabilities and enjoy more opportunities to use those capabilities. The UNDP selected 4 quantitative indicators to measure the dimensions of human development are life expectancy at birth, adult literacy rate, gross enrollment ratio, that is percentage in primary, secondary and tertiary education, and GDP per capita. The concept of HDI reflects achievements in the most basic human capabilities, for example, leading a long life, being knowledgeable and enjoying a decent standard of living. Inequality Adjusted Human Development Index IHDI, Gender Inequality Index GII, Gender Development Index GDI and Multidimensional Poverty Index MPI are also significant indices in assessing and analyzing human development. Thank you.